So by now, I'm sure everyone has heard about this landmark case where a Missouri jury found that realtors, brokerages, and the NAR, Keller Williams and Home Services of America, violated antitrust laws and conspired to fix commissions in this case. This is a seismic event in the real estate industry. If you're a real estate professional, you know about this. This could potentially change the way we do business. It's going to have a substantial impact on how people buy and sell homes. Take a look at this video from NBC Nightly News.
Back now with the big jury verdict rocking the world of real estate. The ruling could change the way Americans buy and sell their homes. Our senior business correspondent, Christine Romans, has more in our series, Priced Out.
A big win for homeowners as a federal jury in Kansas City found a system rigged against them. The jury's verdict siding with plaintiffs and against the National Association of Realtors, along with two brokerage firms. The case argued that forcing home sellers to pay the commission for the buyer's broker is an anti-competitive restraint and requires those sellers to pay an inflated amount. Jared Bright was a plaintiff in the class action suit. He understood he'd need to pay a seller's commission, but the buyer's agent too?
Someone that I had never met, I will never meet, and did nothing for me.
The jury awarded plaintiffs nearly $1.8 billion in a case led by attorney Michael Ketchmark.
It's the only system, it's the only industry in the United States where two competitors get together, they set the compensation, and they split it.
Here's how it works. When you sell your home, you agree to pay a commission to your agent and the buyer's agent, usually 6% of the home price. But this case argued that the buyer should pay their own agent and be able to negotiate that fee. The National Association of Realtors says it will appeal the verdict and that its rules prioritize consumers, support market-driven pricing, and promote business competition. But with housing now the least affordable it's been in a generation, the industry is facing increased scrutiny.
And Christine joining me now. What does this mean now for how we buy and sell homes?
Lester, we're talking about an awful lot of money here. The seller of a $300,000 home is paying $18,000 in commissions. That won't change overnight, but the very way real estate agents make their money, earn their money, and even whether or not sellers will continue to pay those commissions is now in question.
I've gotten a lot of calls from agents. I've gotten a lot of calls from previous clients, from potential clients, asking what this means. What was at the crux of this case? It really concerned commissions. As per the policies and regulations set by the NAR, the National Association of Realtors, we have what's called cooperative compensation. And what that means is that as a listing agent, let's say an agent goes to someone who wants to sell their home and list it in the MLS. Well, we take into consideration, and this is, the crux of what violated antitrust laws, we take into consideration the fact that most homes are not sold by the listing agent. They're not sold by the realtor or broker who actually listed the property. We count on cooperation from buyer's agents, right? Agents that have a qualified buyer, someone who's already pre-approved and ready to buy a house. We want them to bring us their buyers. So typically what a listing agent will do is charge a 5 or 6% commission on the sale price of the property with the intent to split that commission with the buyer's agent. If you're enjoying this video, guys, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Send this video to someone you think might find it useful. Now, I want to make clear that commissions are always negotiable. I'm a mortgage broker, I'm a real estate broker. So I'm familiar with the ins and outs of dealing with sellers and buyers, but clearly what this gentleman was saying is that he was not aware that he could negotiate his listing fee, right? His commissions that he paid to the broker who listed his property, and therein lies a huge part of the problem, right? Because people need to be aware that there is no such thing as a standard commission, quote unquote. And they have the right to say, I'll pay you a commission, right? Whether it be 3%, 2%, 1%, whatever it is. However, I am not going to pay a commission to the buyer's agent. But so much of how real estate is being transacted is still up in the air. Everyone is kind of scrambling to figure out, okay, how do we draft these contracts? What do we need to do on broker-buyer agreements? What do we need to do on listing agreements? So even though a verdict was handed down, I fully expect this case to go on for years, right? Because there's so many issues that are unresolved here. Yes, there was a verdict entered and the jury sided with the plaintiff that there were antitrust violations. However, issues like how do buyers go about purchasing homes as it relates to paying real estate commissions, and how does that relate to protected classes, right? Because if a buyer now has to pay a 3% commission on a $500,000 property, for example, that's $15,000. Like our protected classes like veterans and the elderly and the disabled, won't they be marginalized because they don't have the ability to pay a buyer's agent's commission? Except, like, I don't think there are going to be overnight changes to how we do business, because there are going to be some savvy sellers out there that say, hey, I want to sell my house. And if that means offering a commission to a buyer's agent who's going to bring me a qualified buyer for a quick sale of my property, then I'm willing to do that. A professional, experienced real estate agent doesn't just drive around and show people homes. A real estate agent, a professional, a qualified real estate agent, can be the difference in whether or not a buyer or a seller gets a good deal. It's in the representation, it's in the knowledge, it's in how they negotiate with that person across from them. I often say most people don't appreciate a good realtor until they have a bad one. Is the mortgage industry now going to allow commissions to be financed into a mortgage? Right? For the example I gave earlier of someone who cannot afford, they can barely purchase a house. They got down payment assistance, they got the seller to contribute to their closing costs, and they simply don't have the money to pay a commission. Can that be financed into the back end of a mortgage, right? So all of these industries have to come together and decide if there is a shakeup in the real estate industry in terms of how we transact, the purchase and sale of homes. Is everyone on board? And these things, they can take decades. Here at Cashback Realty, we're committed to transparency. We've always been transparent with all of our clients. I've always been an advocate of buyer-broker agreements. And if you're an agent watching this, you should always be doing a buyer's agreement, a buyer-broker agreement. It protects your client and it protects you. The key takeaway here is disclosure. And I believe as long as you are honest and disclose everything to your clients, there should be no problem. Sellers and buyers will decide how they want to go about doing their real estate transactions. Thanks for watching, guys. Reach out if you have any questions. I'll bring you information as I get it. Take care.